Storky, but I think it's cool. And then he smiles, and for a while I'm in love.
Hi! Welcome to River's Knitting Chronicles, Episode 8. I'm River, also known as River Cameron on Ravelry, and today, as you can see, I have a special guest. This is Kiirah, and what is your Ravelry name?
Kiirah 2008.
Kiirah 2008, and I know you can tell the resemblance. This is my daughter, and she went with me today. We spent the day together. So, first off, Kiirah, how did you start knitting? Because we talked about how I started knitting because you were knitting, but I don't really know how you got started.
A friend of mine named Ashley was knitting during one of the shows that I was doing. I'm a theater major, and I thought it was really cool, and I asked her to teach me, and she taught me, and that's how I started learning how to knit.
Okay, cool. So today, Kiirah and I went to a local yarn shop called Yarn Therapy, and we went to a Cascade yarn tasting. And I had never been to a yarn tasting before.
I
had no idea. They actually did have the yarn on plates, which I thought was interesting. And they had straight needles at every plate, and that was weird for me. Used to straights, I'm used to cable needles. And so it was a little getting used to, but we sampled a couple of the different yarns, and so I wanted to talk to you about a couple of the things that we discovered. Have you used Cascade before?
I don't believe I've used Cascade before, no.
Yeah, it's something that I know is fairly common, but I've never used it either before. So this was new to me. We both walked out with some Cascade.
Yeah.
We both shopped. It was a discount also if you bought. So
yeah, that's one of the only reasons I haven't bought Cascade is because it is on the pricey side, but it was 20% off, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite yarn that I sampled at the yarn tasting is a new yarn for Cascade. They've just come out with it, and it is called, my sample that I knit is really, really tiny because I didn't want to spend my whole time there just knitting on this one thing. But the yarn was called Longwood, and it was kind of a naturally shade, but they've got a bunch of different colors. It's a 100% superwash, extra fine merino. It's a worsted weight. It's an 8-ply, he said. They had a Cascade representative there, and it seems to be a really kind of loose twist, a light twist to it. So as I was knitting, I was noticing that it was going kind of, it seemed almost to be knitting where the yarn, instead of staying round, was flat. I thought that was really interesting. There is a sweater that was on the cover of a magazine a few months ago, and it was green and knit with tensile tape because it was flat, and I thought this might be a good alternative to that, a little more cost-effective, and it was really great. I wish we had Touch-A-Vision because it's super great, super soft. It's some of the softest other than the alpaca Cascade that I've ever felt. And as I was checking out, I made sure to mention to the shop owner that I really liked this, and we went and got the skein that was there for the tasting and had her feel it, and she was telling the rep that she wanted to get the color card and order some for her shop right away. So it's called Longwood. It is a brand new yarn from Cascade. It is 100% superwash, extra fine merino wool, and he said it will come in somewhere between 30 and 45 different colors. So, big thumbs up for Longwood from Cascade. And I absolutely, especially if it ends up being cost-effective compared to other yarns that are this soft, it will be something that I will use a lot in the future. Really, really loved it. What did you try?
I tend to go for the very, very soft things, and so I got this, and I made basically an I-cord with it. It's called Highland Duo, and it is 70% baby alpaca. So I don't know if it's focusing, but
Back up a touch.
Back up a touch. Okay.
Oh, your nails are good.
Thank you. But it is the softest yarn I've probably felt my entire life, and I was kind of slightly bummed out because they don't sell it at that store. But I think if I cave enough and I ask for like a special request for her to order it, she will. But it is the softest, and it's not new from what people told me. So Highland Duo, the softest yarn you will ever feel in your entire life.
Okay, cool. I tried out one other yarn, and it's not new to them, but I'd never seen it before. The store we were at doesn't actually carry it. It's called, the most precious name in the world, Plushes. And it is flat. It is 100% polyester. And it's the first time I've ever kind of enjoyed working with like a fun fur kind of thing, because there's like a string through the middle and then little plushy ends on both sides. They had a little blanket right there. It felt amazing. This would be great for maybe a baby blanket, or also for like toys. As I was knitting on it, I kept thinking of that little bookworm from last week's show. Not necessarily in this color, but something like that. A little lovey for a little kid. Maybe a little pillow or something that a child could just take around and pet and love on would be awesome with this. And being polyester, my guess is it's probably not super expensive. I didn't feel like I had to have a regular yarn to knit with it, like with other fun fur that I've knit with. It just felt amazing and was kind of fun. And because it's not super wide, as you can see, it's not really any wider than your average bulky weight yarn. I didn't get lost in the stitches like sometimes happens with fun fur and things like that. So I really liked this. I don't quite know where you can get it. The store that we were at for the tasting doesn't carry it, but it's something to look for. It's called Plushes, and
it's so soft for being polyester. It's crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't actually feel like any live animals I've ever touched in my life, but it's super soft, and it's got a little bit of the knitting has some give to it as well. So it was fun to work with. I'll link over to, I guess, the Cascade site, and maybe they'll have links on places that you can get it, since they did not sell it where we were. So, Kiirah, show us what you bought today while we were at the yarn tasting.
Well, I primarily make scarves because I haven't learned to make anything else yet, except for headbands. But I really like this blue, and I bought Cascade because it was 20% off. And it is a sock yarn, and because even though I've been knitting for a very long time, I don't really knit socks. I asked Mom if sock yarn was just yarn meant for socks, and she's like, no, you can make anything. So I bought 2 of these, if you can tell, and they're super soft, and they're really light blue colored, which I don't wear a lot, which I think would be
color name?
great.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But no, yeah, it's really nice, and it's really soft, and like I said before, I tend to go for very soft things. So
it's a Heritage 150 sock yarn. It's kind of a teal, 75% merino and 25% nylon.
So it's very nice. And then I also picked up, because I hoard knitting needles like crazy, how do you say it? Chigu knitting needles. So and they were 30% off. I only really buy stuff on sale, so I saved a lot of money.
Okay, so what I got... Okay, first off, there were door prizes. Yeah. And guess who won? Me. So I haven't even opened the package yet, but I won a 4-pack of their Cherub DK in this really pretty minty tealy blue.
Can't really tell because it's in the bag.
Yeah, I don't want to open the bag right now, but I was really excited because they had these tickets, and so they had one of those ceramic yard bowls, and so the guy, there already been 2 before the time that I won, and I looked. One of the ladies from my sock knitting group was there, and she was trying out yarn kind of diagonal across from me, and he said, we're going to do another door prize. And I looked at her and I said, I hope it's 891, because I was 891, and I had my ticket in my hand, and then he says 8, and I was like, yes, 9, I was like, yes, 1, ooh, that's me, and I dropped my ticket back in my purse, and for people who know me, my purse is humongous. There are baby diaper bags that are envious of the size of my purse. It's actually, I think it's meant to carry like laptops and things. They don't even make it anymore, but it is humongous. And like an idiot, I dropped it back in and he needed to take it back. So it took like 5 minutes then to find it. Because, of course, then I'm flustered and I'm flushed and he's staring at me and everyone's staring at me. I was like, I didn't lie, really. I made 9-1. But we found it, and so I got this 4-pack. I am clueless as to what I'll do with it. It is definitely stashed for right now.
Did it come with a pattern? I think it came with a pattern.
It might have. It's got something folded up in here.
Yeah.
I rarely do what I'm told, so I don't, unless it's really awesome, I doubt that I'll use it, but, it says Happy Knitting from Cascade Yarns. So I was really excited, because I very rarely win things like that.
Super jealous.
I have no place to. We're crowded in this space, in case you can't tell. So what I did was, and I know I talked about how I don't. These came.
Oh no.
I don't like to buy unless I have a pattern, but it was 20% off, and these colors were these ones stayed together in this game. They're so pretty together.
So pretty.
It's a peach and a gray together. What I got was the 220 Superwash Sport, which, believe it or not, I said I've never used Cascade before, which means I've never used this. But it's a deep charcoal gray and really pretty peachy color. And I thought I've got 2 of each color, and so there's got to be not the Gyre cowl because I'm already working on that, but something similar to that, or some mitts, or something that I could do some really pretty color work having these together. So this color is totally something that Mel from Single Handed Knits would love. And shout out to Mel. Hi, Mel. She's at SSK right now, which I would love to be at, but I had a good time here. I'm glad I got to go to this with my daughter. But SSK would have been fun too, and she sent me a little message from SSK. A friend of mine said, River is such a huge fan of yours, will you pose for a picture? And she actually did a little bit more than that and shouted out to me, and it was awesome, and I watched it like 100 times, I think. So, yay, but anyway, completely off topic. So, her favorite color is gray, so I think she would have liked that. But I'm probably going to start pattern searching because it makes me a little anxious to not have a pattern ready for yarn, especially yarn that pretty. So I'm really excited about purchasing that. 20% off and really pretty colors, and I'll be able to make something really nice for the fall. Okay, so we are moving on to what we have on the needles. Why don't you go first, since I've just talked a whole bunch?
Well, I'm working on 2 things. And one thing I've been working on for like a year, and one thing I just started a few weeks ago. This is called Seed. I wrote it down. Bark. It's actually called Bark, by Lynn Ann Banks. And we went to, where was it? What store is it?
Really Knit Stuff.
Really Knit Stuff. And she was also having a sale a few weeks ago, and this was about $4.
And it has
sparklies,
sequins in it.
Yeah, and I kind of just messed it up. But
here, put it over my face. And you talk, and you want to be over my face.
But it's so soft. I know I keep talking about how soft stuff is, but this is really nice, and it's really thin, and has sparklies, and I've never worked with sparkly sequins before, and so I bought, I think, 4 of them just to make a scarf, because I'm hopefully moving to a colder place very soon, so I need as many scarves as I can.
So, my turn. Okay. So I did not work on the Ex Libris, so I'm not even going to worry about pulling that out. I didn't work on the Gyre cowl. That's going to have to wait. I did spend this week working on my vodka lemonade sweater. And I know you're sitting there thinking, yay, she's on the sleeves, I'm sure. She is not on the sleeves still. I have 6 more rows, and then a seed stitch border on the bottom, and then I'll be on the sleeves. It will happen before this weekend is over, unless I break all of my fingers on both hands. But this is what it looks like right now. I'm less confident I will finish by the 31st, but it's only the 20th, and I think if I can get it done by tomorrow, that's 10 days for 2 sleeves, and I won't have to purl it all. It's really just go, 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 go. I'm thinking, hoping, so less confident, but still not giving up anywhere close. So here's how it looks so far.
That's really nice, though. You're like, you have sleeve holes.
Yeah, I have the sleeve holes. Yes. So I'm all the way down to here, and what's new that you guys haven't seen is I have gotten, if you can see that, the little lace patterns that go, there's one in the middle of the back, and then there's one right by the band on each side. And I'm almost done. I have 3 more rows of pattern. So then I only have 5 rows to do. I have 3 more rows of pattern. No, because I have 3 purl back rows, 3 rows of pattern, and then the seed stitch is all that's left. So the end is near. I can see it coming. I'm going to be honest. I love this sweater. I love this yarn. I'm burned out on working on it. I'm not good at monogamous knitting. And I'm not going to say it's the House Cup's fault that I'm doing this. It is and it isn't. Where it's we were talking about this in the group. I love the House Cup for this because it forces me to get things finished, or really pushes me to try to get, it doesn't always happen. You've seen my Whips of Shame. Those were all pieces that I was doing for the House Cup. So I love that it pushes me to get things done. I get a bit annoyed that it pushes me to get things done. But honestly, if it wasn't for this being an owl, it would be on that shelf until next year. And so I'm going to be very happy once this is finished. I'm a little burned down on it right this second. But that's an awful lot of knitting if you look at it. So yeah, I'm not blaming me for being a bit, yeah, it's over both of our faces, because that's a lot of knitting. I really think once I get to the sleeves, my momentum's going to come back. I just need to get there and feel like I'm doing something new. Okay, so go ahead, Kiirah.
Well, this other thing is something I've been working on since last Christmas. Mom, as a Christmas gift, got me a whole bunch of yarn.
See, I don't knit her a scarf. I give her the ability to knit a scarf.
You also knit me gloves that I never got. Yeah. But I love this TV show, and I'm going to show you what it is and have you guess it before I say what it is. I'm not done yet, but can you just even guess by the color and the length of this scarf yet what it is? It is a Doctor Who scarf from season 12, actually 12 and a half. And the pattern is by a woman whose website is wittylittleknitter.com. And she went through, obviously she didn't make the pattern, but she went through all the seasons of Doctor Who that had a long scarf in it. And she made patterns for every single one of them. And Mom, the classic one that everyone likes to talk about is the 12 and 12.5 season. And so I'm making that right now, and this is all with Vanna white yarn, which is really interesting. I didn't know she had yarn. But I have a whole bag of it right here, and I've been working on it for forever. And there's an interesting story. Do we have time for me to tell a story? Yes, tell your interesting story. The reason this scarf was made is because they just wanted him to have a normal scarf, and they gave this woman who knits all these yarns and basically told her to make a scarf out of what yarn she wanted. She didn't understand what they told her. She thought they meant knit all the yarn together, and that's why he has a 12-foot, I think it's 12 or 17-foot long scarf, as opposed to just a normal scarf. So yeah, that's what I've been making for about a year now, and I hopefully will get it done before I move. But it's very monotonous because it is just knit stitch, and I do get burned out sometimes doing it, which is why I do other projects in between. So yeah.
Okay, so that went a little bit quicker than I thought. So Kiirah is in college. She's not at
I'm not at Greendale Community College.
Because she's not a human being. For those who love Community, you probably would just squeal.
I got her on that.
She did, and I've now caught up on the whole series on Hulu, which is, I love Hulu. I watch it a lot. Anyway, so what's up with you with college, Kai?
I go to Florida State University, the School of Theater at FSU, which is in the top 10 theater schools in America. If you live in Florida, go to it if you want to. They have I'm a senior. I have one semester left. I have the fall semester left. They have something that only, I think, 3 or 4 other universities in America does, which is a study abroad program for the theater school. And I did that last fall, so almost a year ago I was getting ready to move there for basically 5 months. And I loved it. It was amazing. We're from Tallahassee, so I never got to go out of, city for college or school. I didn't go out of state for school. So it's a really amazing opportunity to go somewhere completely new and different. And and I got to do so many amazing things. And
she saw Matilda in the West End, the London version, before it moved to Broadway.
I did, and I cried
very
like
jealous.
a baby.
Very jealous.
It was an amazing show. I averaged about 2 shows a week while I was there, so I was there for about 5 months, if you can just imagine how many shows that is. And I got to meet the guy that I'm dating.
She met a boy, and in October, so it was about halfway through her time over there, she met a boy. And I have since met him, and he's not a boy. He's 26.
27. He just turned 27, yeah.
Okay. Oh, he had a birthday. I didn't see him. He came and visited here. So I want Kiirah to, because if you are my friend from the House Cup, I told you guys the story as I understood it. He came to visit in May. And so I met him, and he actually, my students, he came and talked to he's an actor, and he came and talked to my theater students, and they asked him, so I got to hear him tell the story. I've just never actually, I read where she typed me the story, because that's how I heard it, was on Facebook as it was happening, but I've never heard her tell the story. So how did you and Chris meet, Kiirah?
Okay, so if you guys know the Globe Theatre in London, it's really, really world-renowned for their Shakespeare, obviously. They offer £5 tickets to see any show. The only catch is you have to stand in the middle of the pit for 3 hours while you watch Shakespeare. I had seen this show called Taming of the Shrew there. FSU had bought us tickets, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was the best show there so far that I had seen, and it was hilarious. And I wanted to see it again on my own, and we had something called 10-Day coming up, which is about a week-and-a-half vacation that FSU gives us so we could travel. And I had decided to stay in London and see a show a day, just to save money and stuff like that. So I had bought, that was the first ticket I had bought, was for Taming of the Shrew, again, on my own. The only catch to standing in the pit is that you have to arrive super-duper early. To get a good standing spot, which is generally when you can lean on the stage. But people show up like 2-3 hours early for that. I'm bad with timing, so I show up 5 hours early to stand in the cold. It's October in London, and it is freezing. It's like 40 degrees, which I'm from Florida, obviously, so we can't handle that. I'm in a skirt, which was a bad idea. And I'm just standing there for, it felt like forever. And a techie guy walks by, and he buys me coffee, which was the first great thing of my day, because I looked so cold. I finally get into the theater, and I have a really, really good standing spot. I can lean on the stage. There was a ramp. I could lean on the ramp because I am very short, and it was great. I'm taller than you. I'm taller than her, though. Don't let her fool you.
She's sitting on a chair that's lower, and she insisted on pillows so that she wouldn't look so short.
So I'm leaning on the stage, and that first act was great. It starts raining, so I buy a poncho. I come back. Ponchos are so expensive there. I come back. I get to my spot, and the second act starts, and they sing in the second act. They're singing this song. And all of a sudden, this guy, who is an actor, obviously, in the show, they're all interacting with everybody. The show is very interactive. He leans over the stage, and he starts waving at me, and I wave back. I'm like, oh, hey, cool, yeah, he's talking to me. And then he gets on the ramp, and he kind of leans down and does this sort of motion. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll kiss his cheek. It's fine. He's acting, whatever. So I go up. I lean sort of on the stage to kiss his cheek, and he turns his head really fast and kisses me on the lips. And everybody, there's at least 600 to 800 people in the Globe all start laughing at me. And I laughed too, because that's super funny. I wasn't really that, upset about it. He was just a peck on the cheek or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So after the show, I stand in the lobby, and English actors don't really get hounded for autographs a lot, so they're really cool about it. They'll stand and talk to you for like 20, 30 minutes because nobody is like, ooh, can I have your autograph? So I waited there to get a bunch of people's autographs, and he came down the stairs, and I was like, oh, hey! And he's like, oh, yeah, you're the girl. And I was like, yeah, you're the guy! And so I got his autograph, and he asked me for my name, which is something English actors also do. They ask you for your name and stuff like that. And I told him, and he got my name down, and my name is very weird. Not weird spelling. It's very unique spelling. So he got my name, and I thought nothing of it. He went to the bar next door. I left after that. I saw a friend, said, hey, I went home. And when I got home, there was a message on my Facebook from him saying, hi, is this Kiirah? Is this the girl I met at the Globe? If it's not, I'm really sorry. Please ignore this. But if this is Kiirah, I would like to take you out for a drink if you don't mind. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So he took me on a date a few days later to some really cool places, and we've been seeing each other ever since. Yeah.
So the way he tells it, he is the same way, but he gets to the bar, or the pub, and he's talking to his friend about this really great girl that he met, and about mid-sentence he stops and says, I should have got her number. And his friend says, yeah you should have. But luckily, Kiirah's name is so unique, if I'd named her Jane or something, they would have never got together, but because her name is so uniquely spelled.
And he was able to remember it. Yeah.
And he remembered it, so he looked her up on Facebook and found her. And so they've been together since October, around my birthday.
Yeah, so almost a year now.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so her life plan when she graduates is?
Right now my plan is to move to London, get started in the production scene of like maybe assistant directing, maybe directing things. My ultimate goal is to start and own a theater company or be an artistic director of an already established company. But it's going to be lots of fun. I'm excited because London is such a mecca for the arts and also for welcoming new people into the arts. Whereas as much as I love New York and Chicago and places like that, it feels very, very closed off. You have to really try and get your foot into the door in those places, whereas in London, it's very open. They're open to anybody really trying. But yeah, so I'm excited to move to London soon, hopefully in December, if everything works out.
So, yeah. So, she's not going to be on the show very often, and once December hits or whenever she moves to London, she won't be on the show unless I'm visiting her or she's visiting me. But I want her to get to do the show, and hopefully she'll be back on. Not every week, because we're not going to turn into a two-person show, but every once in a while when she's got time and...
Maybe when I move over there, I can film some of the yarn stories that they have over there, and maybe send her the footage and she can put it in.
That would be interesting. She also has talked about doing her own podcast focusing on makeup and nails.
Nails!
Because she's all about that. That's nail polish is totally her obsession. So she likes to knit, but it's hard to knit when your nails are wet.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much for watching and spending this time with us. I hope that you got something out of our little mini Cascade review. I do really hope that I'm on the sleeves of that sweater when we see each other again. I'll be back to filming late Fridays again. I put it off a day today so that I could do the Cascade review. So the show, if you're not watching it there, all the show notes are on Rivers Knitting Chronicles. River and Chronicles are plural. riversknittingchronicles.com. There's a Ravelry group, and we're up to 74 members. So
Yay.
we're getting there.
I'm
we're
one of
getting
them.
She's one of them. We're getting close to 100, and the group is, interestingly enough, titled Rivers Knitting Chronicles. You can follow me on Twitter as I am River Cameron. I'm not River Cameron because that is a British boy who seems to have not tweeted much in the past few years, but I am River Cameron is me. If you would like to email me, it's riversknittingchronicles@gmail.com. And I've also got this show, which is, it's identical to what you're getting right now, is also on YouTube, and the YouTube channel is just called Knitting Chronicles. And hopefully, actually once I finish this sweater, that's my plan, to start doing some tutorials specifically for left-handed knitters. They might be useful for things that are less common, but I just I remember how much trouble I had finding tutorials for me. So I'll probably shoot those, or at least the beginnings of those, the beginning of August. And so those will be only on YouTube, and I'll put a link to the blog, but I won't upload them in WordPress because A, I want to save storage space, and B, I don't necessarily want tutorials going onto the iTunes. So if iTunes viewers would want to see those, they'd need to come and see the blog or the YouTube. So thank you so much for hanging out with us and knitting with us, and I will see you next week, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I have to keep waiting. See you.
I have a crush on a boy named Samson. He doesn't know who I am, and he's got thick brown hair, blue eyes that stare into your soul. He makes me feel so pretty, like I'm the only girl in